Okay, Rob. Now, once again in the book, Eurovision. This is where you really did. I mean, you got really immersed in Eurovision. Did everything else take a back seat once you got into it?
Carried on with everything I was doing in terms of the UK TV betting, but it was just after I'd launched entertainmentodds.com in 2009. I thought, right, I think I can apply my skill set now and take it into Eurovision. 2010. That was the first one that I paid serious attention to. You've got to learn, a few different things with Eurovision, things to do with, a country's voting strength, diaspora, as it's called. But, a lot of the fundamentals are the same in terms of running order, in terms of staging, all of these sorts of things. So, yeah, the first time that I invested in Eurovision, I did plenty of analysis for all the months leading up to it, because it is about a 5-month process leading up to the rehearsal fortnight and the semi-finals and the final. And yeah, I had tremendous success actually at that first Eurovision in 2010, and it was really a case of thinking, what on earth have I been doing with my time to ignore Eurovision, because it's a real money spinner.
Now, I've got to say, just a personal point of view, that one night of Eurovision for me isn't my idea of hell. But you went to the rehearsals, you went to the heats, you went to some of the stuff we've seen on TV. I mean, it's a personal taste, but did you actually enjoy the music? Most of it. I know it's all quite eclectic, but
I'd always enjoyed Eurovision just as a TV viewer, because it was so crazy, and I found it enormously entertaining, watching these different performances and different songs. But I wasn't betting at all, and then it was just a case of being armed with the skills in theory to start betting on it. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun to go to the, I'd travel to the venue, and I'd get a press pass, and I'd be there for the 2 weeks of rehearsals. And the first time I had that opportunity was 2012, when I went to Baku, of all places, in Azerbaijan. And yeah, again, it's covered in The Gambler, but it was fantastic, to actually be there in the press centre during rehearsals, and obviously that gave me an enormous edge. And at the time, it was just myself and Daniel Gould from SofaBet, who were the serious Eurovision traders in attendance, as far as I was aware. I mean, obviously there were thousands of people betting on Eurovision, but we were coming at it with all the analysis.
yeah, I was quite surprised, given that there've been such a lot of stuff available for betting on I'm a Celebrity, that sort of thing, that there weren't more involved with Eurovision than you two. I mean, you were getting into the minds of the producers as well for that programme, so even that was a bent heat, or not?
A little bit, yeah. Again, you're watching the live staging, and you can instantly tell, who the contenders are for the win, because they're just very well staged, very well performed, great live vocal, excellent staging, everything visually right, as well as it being a decent song. And then you can see the ones that are struggling, the vocals a little bit off, the staging is underwhelming, so with all the markets on Betfair, so many trading opportunities, not just the winner market, but to qualify or not to qualify from the semi-finals, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it was great fun to sink my teeth into all of the Eurovision trading.
Now, you were there behind the scenes, so I mean, you've worked it out, and your friend Daniel's worked it out. Did none of the artists work it out? Didn't they say, "Hang on a minute, we're getting stitched"? Was there never any sort of tantrums backstage where people had sort of worked out that they were being eliminated by stealth?
I don't think it's not so much like that with Eurovision. I mean, the EBU, I think they do use what we call dark arts, trying to control things to a certain extent, giving some countries maybe favouritism in terms of running order, putting other countries away with the running order, all of these elements. But yeah, I think, you know, sometimes countries will turn up and they think, you know, they've got a decent entry, but then the live delivery is just not working. You know, it's just the staging elements don't come together. It's actually the artist as well. You know, the artist needs to have real good stage presence, you know, charisma. It's all these things. It's almost, you know, you use a lot of intuition and gut instinct. Daniel always used to talk about that. And yeah, we were just sort of, I think I describe us as the early settlers ahead of the gold rush. And it really, you know, looking back, that was how it played out.
Now, why is it that we are one of the leading music industries in the entire world, as in Great Britain, but we never get a sniff? I think, was it Cliff Richard? What was the last winner from Bucks Fizz? Was it Bucks Fizz? The last winner we had?
No, I'm trying to think myself because it was before my time.
Well, we don't win it much, do
No.
we? So why do you think that is?
Yeah, it became very clear to me early on. There's not some kind of Europe-wide conspiracy against the UK, which is often the argument put forward, that, you know, nobody votes for us because they don't like the UK, which is complete nonsense. It's because, sadly, more often than not, we enter very, very poor songs and artists who invariably are incapable of delivering the song well enough live, because it's so important. You know, you have backing singer support at Eurovision, but you know, the artist has to sing live, and they've got to have that charisma and stagecraft. And we're just plucking randoms from The Voice and shows like that. It just, you know, they're out of their depth, basically. You know, once or twice we've done a little bit better recently. You know, Sam Ryder, I think that was more through luck than judgment, to be honest, because the BBC since then has kind of slipped back into its old ways of selecting artists and songs that are, you know, very underwhelming.
Did you pick Gordy when they won?
Just thinking back, no.
Because there's been some off-the-wall winners, haven't there? And that was one of them, the Finnish death metal band, or whatever they were, isn't it?
Again, it was before my time. Yeah, I mean, 2010 was my first serious involvement with Eurovision, and that's when Lena won for Germany, which was a nice winner.
Now, Eurovision, is it still a big thing for you?
Absolutely, yeah. We've sort of got these two big periods in the TV betting year. One is now, because we've got Strictly upcoming, got the launch show on Saturday, and then the live shows following every Saturday after that, leading into the final in December. And then you've got Sports Personality of the Year in December, and then you're sort of done and dusted for the autumn winter run, and then Eurovision, because the national qualifiers start around Christmas time. And like I say, it's a 5-month process leading through to the grand final in May. And I'm scrutinising everything that's going on with all the national qualifiers, and just trying to get ahead of the game in terms of a song that I might have heard in a particular country that I think could be a potential contender, and I'm trying to get matched at big odds on Betfair, which is generally the way that I approach it. So yeah, Eurovision, absolutely still on my radar.
Are you still going over?
Sadly not, because this is the biggest shame for me. The EBU decided to take the live rehearsals behind closed doors. They've banned the on-site media. This happened, I think it started in 2022 They were letting us in for second rehearsals there, so I was there in Turin. And then, yeah, ironically, when it came to the UK in 2023, when it was in Liverpool, it was all behind closed doors, so there was no incentive for me to attend, despite the fact it was in my home country for the first time. So since then, you can still get online accreditation, and you can follow a little bit of the coverage on there, but it's not the same, you know, as those days when we were sat there for the 2 weeks in the press centre covering rehearsals.
And sadly, your friend Daniel is no longer with us.
Yeah, this is heartbreaking. I mean, it still feels recent to me, despite the fact he passed away December 2018. So yeah, we're coming up for 7 years since he passed away. He was only 43. Huge tragedy, and yeah, massive loss to the TV betting world. SofaBet was a great website, and it was you know, it was Daniel's great love. It's still there. They've kept it going as a shrine to Daniel's memory, which I think is really good, because it's also actually invaluable. If you're interested in betting in Eurovision, go to SofaBet and delve into those articles that he wrote back in the day, because a lot of the stuff still applies. So yeah, I mean, Eurovision without Daniel, that was just not the same.
So I've been talking about a lot of this in the sort of past tense, really, because I was assuming that the way things are these days, you know, it wouldn't be feasible now for guys like you still to sort of ply your trade and make a living, or at least a supplementary income out of it. But by the sound of it, I've got that wrong, because you're talking in the present tense about everything. So, I mean, people watching this now, and yourself, there's still money to be made there. You can still get on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just, you know, it's a bit more difficult. I think, you know, value's been eroded away inevitably. The betting firms are more reticent, I think, now to price up these markets. But, you know, you've always got Betfair. Like I say, we've got Strictly coming up. And I think last year, actually, with Strictly, we had the first live show. And it was only after that I thought Chris McClosand had a great chance of winning. And I remember, because I run a subscription service with entertainmentodds.com, I advised Chris at 12 to 1 after that first live show, week one. So that tells you, you know, there's still value there if you're shrewd enough to grab hold of it, because obviously he went on to win the show.
And your website again?
Entertainmentodds.com. Yep.
As it sounds.
Still running to this day. I do run a subscription service, and that's still thriving, you know. And I have two separate runs: one for the autumn run of Strictly and Sports Personality of the Year, and a bit of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Even delve into things like Mercury Music Prize, Primetime Emmys we just had. And then in the new year, it's all focused on Eurovision, but also doing some other analysis like Oscars, Golden Globes, Dancing on Ice, you know, whatever TV betting there is, you know, we can get stuck into.
So you still class yourself as a professional in the sphere?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Eurovision is still, you know, it's thriving in terms of the betting markets. Maybe not quite as buoyant as it was in those glory years, which I would say was sort of 2010 through to about 2019. But you know, there's thousands of people, I think, who bet on Eurovision. So liquidity gradually builds as you get closer to the final, and yeah, there are opportunities.